Hey, since this all happened, I realized I have not done a mental health Monday in a very long time. One, since we are in isolation, I can't go to therapy anymore, actually go there. Thankfully, my awesome therapist is doing telehealth. And so every week for last week and the week before, I think, maybe 2, 3 weeks. Anywho, she has gotten on either a Zoom call with me or today we did a Google face to face and we started doing therapy that way. The first the first therapy session was so needed because I don't know about you, but I had I think it was like the second week. She got on and I just started bawling. She was like, "Oh my gosh, what's happened to you?" Because I don't cry a lot publicly. Um, and even during a therapy session, I don't necessarily cry. Usually it comes out because it's just going to. It has nowhere else to go. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so hard being home," and like all this stuff about, being scared about COVID, having to be home, homeschooling, like all the stressors that we're all feeling right now, right? And they just came out. And so anywho, for a year now, I have gone and seen a therapist for PTSD and trauma and just different events in my life. One being Greg served in the military, and when he was gone on deployment, that was very hard on me. And then, as well as him, but how that took a toll on me. And then, because of his deployments, he had PTSD, and those events would come out at home and how I felt them. So, like, to work through that. And then, Greg got sober 2 years ago. And so, him not drinking is amazing. But leading up to that point, the decision to come into sobriety, both for himself and for me, that also had a lot of trauma. So, anywho, that's where I started. And for years of all of this, because he got out of the Marine Corps in 2005. So it was last year where he looked at me and he was like, "It's time for you to go." He had gone and seen a therapist, and going to Fairbanks, they give you one and a family one. But he was like, "It's time for you to go. You have some trauma you got to work through." And for his own shooting, like that's my PTSD. That was very traumatic for me to receive the phone call that he had been shot, that he was okay, but I was also disbelieving that he was okay. So to unravel and unpeel that trauma and how to work through it. So I was set up with a therapist that was recommended by one of my friends. And so I started going to see them, and it has helped tremendously. If I know there's a lot of stigmas and a lot of things with mental health, but if you have never considered seeing a therapist, I would highly recommend it. Everyone goes and sees a doctor for different things. You go see a dentist for your teeth to get a checkup. You should go and see a therapist or a mental health professional to get your brain okay. So, EMDR has been shown to be very helpful with people who have traumatic events. It helps you work through it because sometimes you may not remember all the things, but it helps figure out how your brain maps it, like how things are connected. But it's rapid eye movement desensitization. Those aren't stickers, baby.
What?
No, it's a book of new stuff to get. So in doing that, it works like a dream wheel. Your eyes are moving back and forth, and you're processing the event, and it helps separate the emotion from the event. So you can actually recall the event without being traumatized with the event. And that's why it really works. So I'm going to show you now that we're doing telehealth somewhat what it looks like. It's usually on a bigger screen, and when I would go see her in real life, it's a very long light bar. But this is what it looks like. So if you can see that ball moving back and forth, I follow this ball and I think of an event, or I think of a belief, like I'm alone, and I follow this ball back and forth, and the memories just come to me, and that's what it does. And so, like today, it was I'm alone, and I'm standing next to my bed, and I'm hyperventilating and thinking like Greg's been shot, and what do I do, and all this. And then we go through the memory. I talk with her, and she's like, okay, breathe. And then we go back into it. And the interesting thing is my brain will take me somewhere completely different. Absolutely somewhere completely different than where I was usually. Or I'll skip and then I'll be in my closet. And it's very weird because I don't see myself walking, but it's like watching yourself in a movie. And now I can recall getting that phone call, and I won't hyperventilate. I won't panic. So it's good. So I would encourage you, if you've never done therapy or something like that, to look into talking to someone. I know this may not be a really great time to do that. Also, there are some amazing books. I love listening to books on Audible. Brene Brown is one of my favorite people to listen to. So if you feel like I just need something for my soul, or you've gone through some things and you just need help getting through them, reach out to a friend, of course, a family member, anyone. But I would also look into listening to some kind of book on Audible, or do research on what kind of therapy interests you. Brene Brown's The Power of Vulnerability is very impactful. It's one of my favorite books. So I would look at that, or The Gifts of Imperfection. That's also an eye-opener. So, or message me and ask me any questions. I'm an open book. Everyone has stuff. Everyone has stuff that they don't like. And today I talked about, like, once your secret's out, then everybody kind of looks at you like, or it feels that way. Maybe it's not that way, or they feel bad, but the truth is that we all have stuff that has happened that maybe we're not proud of, or maybe we wish never happened. But all those things are there to teach us something. We're there to gain strength and to grow. But it's really just, through prayer and learning and reaching out to others that we can really move forward from it. So if, that speaks to you, or you have, something you want to talk about, reach out to someone, reach out to me, but don't keep it bottled up inside, because I compare myself to a trash compactor. I know it's terrible, but, things you don't like, you just keep shoving down in that trash can, right? You just keep shoving the trash down, and you put a lid on it, and you hope it's going to stay, right? You just hope it's going to be in there, and it's going to stay in there. But soon, if you don't start emptying that trash out and dealing with it, it's going to spill out the top. And most of the time, at least mine, spilled out when I didn't want to, before I taught a class. At a Veterans Day program at school, and they play taps, and taps is just something that just pulls at my heartstrings and just makes me want to cry. And I don't cry as much now, but I still get tearful, because taps is just, it's that sound, that dun dun dun. Once they hit that third note, one time I had to walk out with Cora. She was a baby, and I walked down Nativity's hallway sobbing because I couldn't hold it in. So, I encourage you, if that's you, and that if you're to the point you can't hold it in anymore, you need to talk to somebody. It'll feel so much better when you get it out, rather than holding on and burying it. So that's it. That's what EMDR has helped me do. So maybe it'll help you too. And I hope that me sharing my story and being honest helps you. So have a great day. Hug your people. Tell them you love them. I'll see y'all later. Bye.